Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is looking at a rumour that was spread probably 6 to 9 months ago about Scotland owing some people in the Middle East, some charities nonetheless, £1 million for a favour it had done last year. And just to recap, Scotland had already at that point, the Scottish Government had made 2 large donations to charities in the Middle East. That was £500,000, followed up by a £250,000 donations to UNRWA, one of which was very suspicious because the money had agreed to be given to UNICEF, but our then First Minister, Humza Yousaf, changed a ministerial decision and gave it to UNRWA. And at that time, there were several people, much more well appointed, better appointed than me, had suggested that the total bill was to be £1 million. We'd only paid £750,000 at that point. And a few weeks later, the world stopped giving money to UNRWA. And when the UK government said that they would be putting a hold on funding to the UNRWA and suspend funding them, Humza Yousaf came out and made a very public statement that Scotland had not indeed suspended giving money to UNRWA. They had merely ran out of money, but would continue to give them money as soon as financially possible. Then, lots of people around the world, some months after that, started begging the world to start supporting the UNRWA again. So a long time had passed, and my thoughts on such a rumour that we owed them £1 million to the Middle East charities went to the back of my mind. And I kind of forgot about it. And I kind of gave up on this rumour as being nothing more than rumour that Scotland indeed owed £1 million and still had a £250,000 IOU outstanding to charities in the Middle East, more notably Gaza. So, what happens today? Well, today we are sent a press release by the Scottish Government telling us about humanitarian aid for the Middle East. And in the press release by Scottish Government tonight, their headline was Humanitarian Aid for Middle East, an emergency donation of £250,000 to support relief efforts. And I thought, well, hold on a minute. £250 was the suggested amount in this rumour that we owed charities in the Middle East. So the statement from the Scottish Government says humanitarian aid efforts in the Middle East will receive funding for £250,000 in response to Disaster Emergency Committee appeal. The DEC, Scottish Catholic International Aid Fund, SCIAF, and Mersey Corps will use the funding to support humanitarian activities as the situation in the region continues to deteriorate. £200,000 will be contributed to a fund shared between DEC's 15 member organisations. The DEC, I've never heard of before, that's this Disasters Emergency Committee. This is a charity. So this money will be shared between their member, £200,000 will be shared between their member organisations, helping to provide food, water and medical assistance and shelter to displaced people in the region. SCIAF and Mersey Corps will each receive £25,000 to support aid activities. Then John Swinney went on to tell us a lot of nonsense, right? Blah, 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 blah. And in the background it said that the DEC appeal for the Middle East will launch today. So I kind of think we must have known for a while we were going to support this, for it just to launch today, and lo and behold, on the first day of the opening, we're giving them £250,000 for the Middle East. So the next thing I'd done was I had a look and I thought, well, I've never really heard of this DEC before. What do they do? Well, they're a charity that have 15 member partners, and what they basically do is they say that when there's disasters, they will shout out for appeals and spread loads of charities, fundraising activities to bring this money in. and then they give it away. Okay, so that's what they do. And their 15 member charities are quite well known, and they are on the screen just now. And I'd like you to remember, if you can, 7 of them. Action Against Hunger, Action Aid, Care International, the International Rescue People, Oxfam, Plan, and Save the Children. Those 7, almost half the charities that they give to. And the reason I asked you to remember them, I also thought, who are the first one? So I thought I want to learn more about these charities. So the first one I looked at was Action Against Hunger. I went onto their website, and lo and behold, they informed the world that NGOs were calling for the EU and member states to reinstate funding to UNRWA back in March, not long after funding stopped. And what they'd done was they brought out a petition, as it were, and a letter statement from NGOs to the EU and its member states, demanding that they start funding UNRWA again. And then I looked at who signed it. And let me just read out the names, and if you can use your memory and remember the ones I told you to remember. We have International Rescue Committee. We have Plan International. We have Action Aid. We have Save the Children. We have Oxfam. We have, where are we? Plan International. Mercy Corps, who I'll come back to. Action Against Hunger themselves. So that's 7 of these charities that the DEC are going to give this money to, from the Scottish Government to these charities who told us 6 months ago in March that the world had to start giving to UNRWA. And the other charity, because bear in mind what the Scottish Government told us, they're giving the largest amount to the DEC, we're giving it to these charities, and a smaller amount to Mercy Corps. But guess what? They were signatories as well on this appeal to the EU to start funding UNRWA. So we'll get Action Against Hunger, Action Aid, CARE, International Rescue, Oxfam, Plan, Save the Children. 7 of Disaster Emergency Committee's partners begging the world to give to UNRWA. None of these charities mentioned in any of these statements have people on the ground inside Gaza. So who will they give their money to make sure this money is received by people with boots on the ground in Gaza? It's a bit odd, isn't it? Now what I'll just show you as well for clarity, the statement by DEC says you can help people affected by the crisis by making a donation and helping to raise money for the DEC appeal. This will allow DEC charities and their local partners to scale up responses and reach more people. I'm not saying this rumour that we owed a charity in the Middle East £1 million is true. I'm not saying it's false. I don't know either way. But what I will tell you now is the Scottish Government, as of today, have paid £1 million to charities in the Middle East, concentrating in Gaza. And the biggest charity in Gaza is UNRWA. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe and notification button. Give us some comments. Tell me what you think of the video and your theory and theories in the comments below. Most importantly of all, unless you are at it in the Scottish Government and like giving money away out of Scotland, when I can't see any benefit. I can see lots in Scotland that need money. No you, but everyone else.
Everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.